All right, everybody. For those of you who don't know, my name is Michael Forrest, and welcome to It's Quest Time. Now, before we get going, if I can ask you guys to not come up on the stage area, this way nobody blocks the big display behind me and gives me a little bit of room to move around, do the whole hosting thing, right? Also, if I can ask you guys not to send me any text messages while I'm up here, I'd really appreciate that. Because when you're up here and you're hosting and all of a sudden you get a text message, it's like hitting a wall. It's not a wall, it's just text, and it can really throw you off. So if you can save those comments to the end, I'd really appreciate that. Even better, you can join our Discord. It really is the best way to reach us. Also, let's see, you're going to notice in your in your menu wheel there in your lower left, at the very top of that, you're going to notice a microphone icon that looks kind of like this, right? When that microphone icon is clear, that means we can hear everything that's happening in your environment, and I do mean everything. So what you're going to notice when that microphone icon is red, that means that you're muted. And this way, if somebody comes into your space and says, hey, are you still on that thing? Don't worry, we're not going to hear any of that. Likewise, if maybe you have a barking dog in the background, don't worry, you're not going to face social ruin back at the campfire by becoming known as the avatar that suddenly started barking during its quest time, right? But just because you're muted doesn't mean you can't express yourself. You're going to notice that pink cheeked smiley face in your menu wheel there. And when you click on that, your emoji panel opens up in front of you and gives you a wide variety of options with which to express yourself, right? So if I share something really deep, something powerful, and it starts to build up inside you, you can just let it out and just let it flow just like that, right? Maybe I got some backup dancers backstage, right? And, you know, they come out and we break in It's Quest Time the musical, and you guys are all really impressed. You can throw up the applause I live for. I can take a moment to drink it all in, you know, just like that, because it feels good. All right. If I ask you guys a yes or a no question, you can say yes by smiling like this. You can say no by frowning like that. Maybe if you use a silly face emoji, you can show me that you're laughing if I say or do something funny, right? And then there's this thing. This emoji was, designed by an evil admin in a dark room, right? Want to come up with the most distracting of emojis and came up with this thing right here, right? We're going to use this, though, not to ask questions. We're going to use this as like a signal, right? So if something goes wrong, when my voice gets choppy, or like, maybe our moderators have had seen one too many It's Quest times and they've had enough, so they decide they're going to set the stage on fire. Only I don't know because it's happening behind me, right? I'm going to rely on you guys to tell me that, right? That's going to be like our sacred bond, right? That's going to be like, our connection between me and you, the audience, right? So let me know if something like that happens. Like if I'm moving my hands around like this and it looks like I'm talking, but no sound's coming out, right? I'm going to want to know about that. Also, you're going to notice there's an X in the middle of the emoji panel, and when you click it, it's going to make the emoji panel go away. It's a good idea to leave it open during events like this because, one, it gives me feedback. It lets me know how I'm doing, but more importantly, it lets the people around you know what you're experiencing. So if the person next to you starts going like this, that means they may think something's funny, right? And you may not agree. You might be like, well, that's not funny at all. I'm going to go stand over here. And you can totally do that because this is VR, right? Only not right here because this is on the stage. And we did have that agreement. You guys, you consented to that. All right, you agreed. Okay, I'm seeing nods. You guys understand? All right, cool. All right, now what's Quest Time about? Quest Time is an event, right, where we're going to help out our fellow Quest users, especially if they're new to Altspace, and learn how they get the most out of their device in Altspace, okay? But before we head out, I'd like to get some idea of how to proceed. So if you guys could show me like some hearts if you're on a quest right now. How many of you are on a quest? Or even not just hearts, stick your hands in the air because you can. How many of you are on quest right now? Let me see your quest users in the audience. All right, cool. All right, not that many today. All right, that's cool. All right, how many of you are brand new to the quest? Like you recently just got your quest. Any new quest users out there? All right, some of you. All right, cool. How many of you are looking forward to that quest 2 that's coming out? Anyone excited about that? I'm pretty stoked. Yeah. All right, cool. Awesome. Very good. I like seeing that. Can't wait to try that thing. We might even have to take quest time and split it into 2 parts. Like what if the quest is really different than the quest we're using now? Then we're going to have 2 quest times. One quest and one quest 2. It's going to be a whole thing. It's going to have to split them up. All right. But let's see. So how many of you are new to Altspace? Do we got any new Altspace users out there today? Wow, that's a lot of you. Well, welcome to Altspace. I really think you're going to enjoy it. Got a lot of cool stuff to do in here. It's a lot of fun. All right. But you know what? When I was waiting to get my quest, I was on an Oculus Go at the time. And as some of you may know, an Oculus Go has one controller. So you only got that one arm, right? Now, I grew up in Brooklyn, so I'm used to talking with my hands a lot. Right, I'm going like this all the time, but in Altspace, all anybody saw was me going like this, and I wasn't feeling like I was expressing myself as fully as I could. So when my quest was coming, I couldn't wait to get that controller, right? I couldn't wait to have that hand so I could start moving around like this, right? And start doing these things, start moving around like doing all that. I couldn't wait. But then when it finally arrived, I took a good look at these controls, and I was like, you know what? That's a lot of buttons. It really is. It's a lot of buttons. It's a lot to take in. So if you're new to the Quest and you're just starting out and you're paying attention to those buttons, don't worry. It's only going to take a few days to about a week, and you're going to get to a point where you don't even think about it anymore. But listen, I like to go over these controls some just to make sure everybody's comfortable. If you're already familiar with the controls and how to move around on the Quest, don't worry. We do some movement exercises, so this way it can be fun for everybody, okay? The first button we're going to talk about is the grip button. Now, on the side of either one of your controllers, you have this grip button right here. Usually grip it with your third finger there. And this is just my controls just went nuts. All right, this is going to allow you to interact with your environment. This is actually how I'm grabbing this laser pointer here, right? You can use this to build worlds with your own two hands if you're in the world beta building program. Now, remember, if you are in that program, by going into your main menu, going to settings and enabling it under general, if you're in that program and you go to build worlds, remember, it's going to change the behavior of your right thumbstick when you grab objects, right? So when you go to grab objects, if you go to turn to the right, it's going to actually end up making the object that you're holding get bigger. If you turn it to the left, it'll get smaller. If you move it forward or back, it's going to push it away from you or bring it closer to you, right? Keep that in mind because it's going to change the behavior of that thumbstick. All right. Also, you're going to use this to grab like skyrockets, those things. You can use those bean bags that got in the campfire. And maybe if you've never used the grip button before, let's give you guys a chance to use one. If my backup dancers are willing to throw me out some basketballs, here we go. Let's try it. Just throw a few of those out if you've never tried the grip button before. Now's your chance to actually try that out and just toss those around. All right, listen, if you're having a room scale experience, right, you're going to notice from time to time that when you walk out past your main menu, that's usually the time somebody asks you, hey, open your main menu, and you're going to be like, oh, man, where is this thing? And you're looking all over for it, right? And it's always behind you. This can get pretty annoying, right? But you have to remember that your main menu is in your hands at all times on an Oculus Quest. And the way you access this is on your left controller. You're going to notice down toward the bottom, you have this flat button right here. Now, when you press on that, your main menu is going to open up in front of you. When you press it again, your main menu will close, right? You can combine this into a cool like wrist flick like that. My menu's open. My menu's closed. It's open again. It's closed again. You don't have to do it. It's not going to make it work any differently. But that blue and white triangle button on your menu wheel, you don't actually have to use that. You can use that flat button on your left controller down toward the bottom there. And this is great because if you walked out past your main menu and you want to get your menu wheel back, all you have to do is just press that button one time, press it again to close it, and you'll have all those buttons back where they're supposed to be if you want to access like your emoji panel or something like that. All right, cool. Now, another thing you have to keep in mind about on the Quest is you have to be concerned about your vertical height. When I first came into Altspace on my Quest, I went to the campfire to try it out. I was feeling good, I was feeling like I was floating on air. Turns out I actually was. I was about this high above everybody else. And I'm looking around, I'm like, why did I get so tall? I just really had a growth spurt when I got this new device here. And, what you got to keep in mind is if you're feeling too tall or too short, it's easy to fix this. If you're feeling off like that, if somebody's willing to change their vertical height for me, either, lift themselves up a little bit or scooch down on the floor. Anybody willing to do that? Let's see, we got Bradley here. Bradley's doing it. All right, Bradley, you willing to try that? Lift yourself up there, Bradley. No, you're not? Okay. Oh, you're in 2D. Yeah, all right. That's not going to work. All right, anybody else here? Anybody else willing to change their vertical height for me? Oh, let's see. Anybody willing to stand up a little bit? All right, go ahead, Dr. Coble. Let's try that. Cal, try that. You stand up a little bit there. Let's see. Here we go. There we go. Nice. Now show everybody what happens when you press down your left thumbstick. Press down on it like it's a button. There you go. Boom. Just like that. That's called recentering. So if you feel like you're too tall or too short in Altspace, just press down on that left thumbstick and it'll adjust you. The only thing you got to keep in mind is sometimes people look down when they do it. And if you do that, this is going to cause you to pop up like that. The idea is to look straight ahead because this movement is attached to your head. It used to be a bigger deal back when we had legs. Without the legs, it's not so much. Really, you just got to kind of find what's comfortable for you and then just recenter by pressing down on that left thumbstick right there. All right. Now, listen, while these are a lot of buttons, it's important to keep in mind some of these buttons do the same thing, right? Like you're going to notice that this right select button here, and your right trigger and this left select button here, if you have your left pointer enabled, right? They do the same thing. If you hold down your right trigger right now and you move through the crowd, you're going to notice everybody's name tag appears above their head. And that's how I know everybody's name so quickly. That's how I know that's Harold out in the back there. That's Marco right there. That's Wolf. And that's Sans 304 over there in the corner there. And that's how you know everybody's name tag so quickly. So, that makes it a little bit easier knowing that some of them do the same thing, right? Another thing to keep in mind is your left trigger is going to cause you to accelerate. Right. So if you're walking around or you're flying around, it's going to make you go faster. Right. So if I run down in the audience here, maybe we can go into a giant circle, everybody. Let's make a hurricane, everybody. Let's make a whirlpool in here if we can. If you're getting dizzy, you probably shouldn't do this thing. But let's take a look. Let's look at our formation today. How are we doing? That is not a circle, people. That's not even a figure eight. I don't know what that is. Wait, we're getting more circular. You guys are getting better at it. I just didn't believe early enough. Let me see. That's good. Anybody dizzy yet? If you're dizzy, raise your hand. Let me see. Anybody getting dizzy? No? All right. A little bit. All right. Well, then you should probably stop, man. If I was getting dizzy, I'd be like, you forget this, man. All right. Another thing you should keep in mind is on your right controller there, right up toward the top, you've got this teleport button right there. Now, what you can do, right, is if everybody joins me up along this wall here, If you press down on that teleport button and aim at the floor, you're going to see your teleport target appear on the floor. And you can aim it around. Let's aim it across the room down toward that brick wall. And as soon as we go, boom, we get thrown right across the room, just like that. Everybody teleport over to me while there's still time. You can make it. I believe in you. All right, cool. All right, now another thing is you can combine this stuff, right? Like let's hold down that accelerator button, that left trigger button, and face the stage and go backwards while teleporting at the floor, and you'll go into the Altspace moonwalk, right? Which is hopefully is not a copyright violation because that would be bad. All right, now listen. There was one time I came down into the audience. We noticed I come into the audience a lot, and some stuff like you're always learning new stuff in Altspace, right? And what happened was, the audience was crowding me a little bit, and I had to get back on the stage. So I put my hand over my head like this, and I teleported backwards. So yeah, you can do that. You can teleport backwards in Altspace. A lot of fun, gives you a lot of options. And when I was first messing around with this stuff, I went to the Universe, which back then was held in a really large world, and I walked up to the edge of the world at the end of the event to explore it. And I'm looking over the edge, and all of a sudden I start to fall. Right. And as I'm falling, I look over and there's this cliff there. And I reach out and I aimed my teleporter button right at that, put the target right on that cliff, and boom, I was thrown to safety before I could respawn, because it's not like you can get hurt in Altspace. But in that moment, I knew I was finally getting used to the controls. There's going to come a time where, and you remember me saying this, where you're always going to feel the plastic in your hands, right? But after a while, these are going to become your hands. You won't think about the gestures. Like if I say, everybody, look out that window, I don't think about how I'm pointing. I just do it. It takes more effort to explain how I'm doing it. If you hold down your grip buttons on either controller, you're going to notice that your hands go into this point gesture, right? And what you can do is combine this in a variety of ways, right? Maybe touch your fingers together, feeling a little bit nervous, like, I don't know about this guy. He's doing the gesture thing again, right? Or maybe, let's see, we can also do this whole, go like this. Give me a Brooklyn hello. Everybody give me a Brooklyn hello by going like this. Can everybody do that? Let me see. All right, nice, very good. Now put them together like this and make the Altspace logo. Put it up nice and high and show me some Altspace pride, people. Let me see, nice and high. Get a good stretch on. That feels good, right? And hold that for a minute. It just feels nice. About halfway through the presentation there, and just like, yeah. You can twist them together like this and make a picture frame, right? Like that. Maybe you can squeeze your index finger and kind of shutter it like you're taking a picture. How cool would it be to take screenshots like this? Maybe contact the admins and tell them, yeah, we want that shutter screenshot thing, because that would be awesome. All right. Also, let's see. If you squeeze your grip button and your index fingers together, you can give me 2 thumbs up. Let me know I'm doing a good job up here. Maybe I'm not. Give me 2 thumbs down. Be like, no way, Michael Forrest. You're just not up to the quality, right? Maybe give me a little bit of both like that. You just don't know, right? Give me a little bit of both, all right? Maybe you put them together like this. I don't know what this means, but people do it to me. They come up to the stage and go like that. I don't know what it means, but it looks cool, right? You extend the index finger so you can make kind of a W. That's pretty neat, right? During one of the first quest times we ever had, somebody came up to the stage at the very beginning and they kept going like this to me. So I did it back, and then the whole audience started going like this. I just thought it was cool. And that's the way you pick this stuff up. If you see somebody doing something that you like, right, try to copy them, and that makes the gesture your own. And then after a while, you won't even think about how you're doing it. You can also, if you're holding down your grip and your index fingers, and you got that thumbs up motion there, if you touch the buttons or the thumbstick, don't push down on them, just very gently touch them. You're going to find that your thumb goes down. You can combine this into kind of a cool dance move, right? Kind of be going like that. Right? All right, I'm told that this doesn't look as cool as it feels, right? But I don't care. This is how I dance in Altspace. So you ever see me out at like the Universe or something, this is how I'm going to be dancing, right? Feel free to join me. Come up to me and be like, hey, Altspace. All right, cool. All right, let's see what else we got here. Now, there's another button you need to be concerned about here, and don't press this now, all right? Because if you disappear, I'm going to feel it. But on your right controller, down toward the bottom, you've got this flat button here. Right now, this button, right, is your best route out of Altspace. You got to think of this like it's an eject button. So somebody comes into your space and says, "Hey, dinner's ready." You're gonna be like, "Gotta go." When you press that button, and then your Oculus home screen will come up, and you'll have an option to press quit or resume. This is great if you press it by accident, because, like, let's say you're at the Universe, and you're dancing around, you press it by accident, and all of a sudden you get that quit or resume button in front of you. You hit resume, you'll come right back into Altspace. It'll be like you never left. And this way, you won't offend Yunji, and she won't have to destroy you with her awesome admin powers, right? All right, but this is also a good button to press when things go wrong. Let's say that maybe, like, I turn my head, right? And when I do, and I turn it back to look at you guys, the whole world moves with me and I start to feel kind of dizzy, right? In a case like that, I know something's going wrong. I'm going to want to press that flat button to eject out of Altspace. And then I just press quit, and then I restart the app. And this is going to solve most of your problems. Sometimes something a little more serious can happen, though. Like, let's say I look over there, and all of a sudden there's a black void on the edge of the screen, and I'm like, uh-oh, it's back, the black void. And I look to my right, I look up, I look down, and the whole screen is surrounded by this black void, and all my friends are frozen in space, like all dramatic like that, right? I know something's gone seriously wrong, so what do? I press that eject button, right? And nothing happens. And then I'm like, Michael Forrest, you lied to me. That's not what's going on. That's not what's going on. Sometimes your device can freeze, not just on Altspace, but in other apps as well. And the best way to deal with this is to restart your headset. Now, when I first got my headset, I would take the headset off to restart it. But listen, if your device is plugged in, right, or it's not in a charge cycle and that light is not lighting up and you're in a rush, it makes it take longer, it seems like. Seeing a hand pop up there. I'll be taking questions at the end, Wolf. So just, hang on to the end. All right. Unless it's the voice quality thing. Is that what's going on there? No. No. Yeah. I'm getting choppy. All right. Usually my mods let me know. Hey, mods out there. Am I getting choppy? I sound good. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So let's see. All right. Show me some frowny faces if I'm choppy. Any frowny faces? All right, no, just one. All right, it might be you. If you're the only one there, Wolf, you might just want to try re-enter into space, okay? Just by, going to your main menu, go into settings, hit re-enter, and you'll be there. All right, now, let's see. Where was I? Lost my place there. Okay, there we go. All right, yeah. So let's say that, you go to, restart your device there, and it can take a while to do this. So it pays to know how to restart this device while it's still on your head. All right, it's probably the best way to do it. And the way you do this is you take the index finger of your right hand and you swipe it up and down the side of the device, and there's this raised up button there, right? And so what you do is you take the index finger of your left hand and you squeeze them together, right? Just like that. And when you do that, I find it helps. It really doesn't really help. I just do it. I think it's cool to go down in this like deep concentration pose. I look down while I'm doing it and I squeeze them together, right? And after about 4 seconds, I concentrate so hard my avatar disappears and gets plunged into the darkness, but I don't let go. I hang on. And then after about 10 seconds, I start wondering, why did Oculus make it take so long? I don't know. After about 15 seconds, I start thinking about friends I haven't seen in a while. I wonder how they're doing. After about 20 seconds, I start thinking about life. I start thinking about those big questions, And then, after about 20-something seconds, all of a sudden, out of the darkness, the Oculus logo emerges like the bat signal, right? So what I do when it starts the pulse is I take my fingers away just like that. Then the device starts up normally, and this is going to take care of almost all the problems that you're going to have with your device. It's going to put everything back the way it was. Occasionally, something a lot more serious can happen. Like one time, I was coming out of Altspace, and there was this message on my screen that said, Oculus Home is closing, right? And it was just a blue button there, so I pressed to say OK. So I pressed OK, and then the screen just said loading. And I'm like, what's going on? I waited 2 minutes, and it still said loading. So I went into my deep concentration pose, right? And when the device restarted, it still said loading. And then I realized, oh, wait, Oculus Home is closing for good. That's bad news. So I took off my headset. I asked Google about it because Google knows all the things, right? And I asked Google, and Google's like, a lot of people are having this problem. The best thing you can do is a factory reset. If you ever need to do a factory reset, please keep in mind that any pictures that you have on the device, you're going to lose all of them. You're also going to lose all your apps. You're going to have to re-download them. Good news, you won't have to pay for them again, but it's going to put your headset back the way it was when you first got it, right? You're also going to lose all your preferences too. So you might even lose your Beat Saber scores, okay? So it's serious business, people. You're going to lose all that, those Beat Saber scores, and you're going to have to fight through those scores again to beat all your friends again. It's serious, right? But it's good to know that you have the option in case something goes seriously wrong, you kind of get like a do-over, which is kind of cool, right? All right, so that'll help with that. Now, let's see here. Now, also, listen, if you're here today, you're already familiar with the Guardian system. You've danced with the robot, you've played with the blimp, right? You did all that fun stuff. And but what you may not be aware of is how to use the Guardian system to your advantage in Altspace. Now, I like to tell people when you mess with your Guardian system, please keep in mind, you be very careful, especially if you're new to VR. You don't want to damage your device, or injure yourself, because a lot of times you'll see somebody walking along in Altspace, they look like they're having a good day, and all of a sudden, bam, they hit a real world wall. Those real world walls are a menace, and they need to be stopped. All right, so what you can do, though, is if you lead with your hands, that'll help a lot, right? So if you lead with your hands and you go up, like if I walk up to my real world wall right now, okay. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you're not on a Quest, one thing that can help you, regardless of what device you're on, if you ever experience dizziness in VR, one thing you can do is hold your hand up to your face just like this, right? And be like, just take a minute to focus on it, and then when the dizziness passes, you take that hand away and take in the world around you, and that can really help. But you can also use your Guardian system for this purpose too, right? And the way you do this is if I walk up to my real world wall right now, right, and as I get close to it, that grid appears in the air in front of me, right? I'm holding my hands out, but I can still touch my thumbsticks, which means I can still move my avatar around in VR, right? So what I can do is I can move my avatar and line it up this display here, and what I can do is kind of connect onto it and make sort of a reality anchor, and this is going to help me feel connected to the real world and more balanced. Oh no, I've fallen off the stage. I'm in the audience. Now let's say you guys aren't nice. Don't be nice to me. Come over here and try to mess with me, try to throw me off. Do your best. Stick your hands in my face, make me dizzy, run around me fast, do whatever you can. Because as long as I can see that display right there, it's not going to throw me off in any way because it's making me feel connected to the real world, right? You don't even have to use something big like the display there, right? You're going to find like you can use the edge of the stage here and line it up with a real world table or a real world desk, right? And this is going to make you feel more balanced, especially if you're new to VR, okay? That could really help a lot. Now, one great thing, too, about your Quest is that you can transition between a room scale to a stationary experience pretty effortlessly in Altspace. Like, you know what? I'm coming up on my 400th event. It's coming up soon. Right? Got a few more events to go, and it's going to be a 400th event. You know what? I'm tired. I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm exhausted. I need to sit down. I can do that on the Quest. What I do is I walk up to the edge of my boundary, right? I make sure I got enough room for my head to pass through it. I stick my head through, and the pass-through camera goes off. Also now, under experimental features, they have so you can kind of double tap your headset like that, and your pass-through camera will go off on either side, too. I can go tap, tap, and I can see I got my coffee right there. I can take a sip of that. I can throw it down because I'm messy like that. And I can look over there, and I've got my chair there. So I go, oh, I'm going to go down and sit in my chair now. Okay, cool. So I go sit in my chair, and there's this blue button there. I'm saying, do you want to have a stationary experience? I say, yeah, that's what I want to have. And the next thing you know, the grid comes up out of the ground, and I find that not only am I still in VR, but I'm still in Altspace. I never left. It's awesome. And it works in the other direction, too. There was this one time I was moderating an event, and I wanted to get up and walk around. Pretty big deal for me. So I figured I would just get up and step into my Guardian. But sometimes the Quest can lose your Guardian, right? That can happen due to changing light levels, or for one reason or another can't resolve its position in your space. And it figures, just draw me on the boundary. No big deal, right? But when there's 2 minutes left in the event, it's a very big deal. So I start drawing out my new boundary, and I'm like, oh no, why is my play space so huge? And then I'm thinking, Hummingbird, of all the times I had to moderate for an admin, why did it have to be today? I don't know. And then I'm going up to the, here, and I close the loop, and all of a sudden the grid comes up out of the ground. And you know what? I find not only am I still in VR, but I'm still in Altspace. I never left. All right. So you can transition back and forth like that and be comfortable and still stay in Altspace. If you're at an event that you're enjoying and you feel like you want to stand up and walk around, you can. You feel like you want to sit down, you can. Just be careful when you move in your space because you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to damage your equipment. All right. Let's see. Listen, the great thing about the Quest is it just works. It doesn't mean it can't work better. There's a lot of accessories that can make the experience, more awesome, right? Like, those earbuds that they have for it that hang down from the side. I don't know what I look like when I'm in VR, but I like to think when I'm wearing these things, right? I like to think I look fancy, like VR earrings, right? Anyway, I put these on for the first time, and I go to the campfire to try them out. And I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting much because, listen, the sound on the Quest is great. It really is. There's no, there's no feedback. The sound is really crisp. But I put these on, and I go to the campfire. And did you guys know there's a breeze in the campfire? Nobody told me that. I've been in Altspace for almost 2 years, and nobody told me there's a breeze in the campfire. I walked over to that railing, and I could hear the water rushing, and you know what? There's a lot of rich ambient sound in Altspace that can make the experience a lot more immersive. It's definitely worth trying out. Also, listen, Oculus doesn't do a good job of letting people know that there's a breaking in period on the Quest. When you first get it, there's a lot of people that say the Quest is uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable. It's top heavy. It's just uncomfortable. And you know what? It's not true, right? People get this impression. You first get your Quest. When I first got mine, I actually got a sore on my forehead from using it, right? But what happens is the oils in your face will actually soften the insert. And some people, what they'll do is they're like, oh, this is uncomfortable. I'm going to modify it. I'm going to get counterbalance weights. I'm going to get external battery packs. I'm going to make this thing work. And then what happens is in a couple of weeks, when the device is broken in, they got to go through that all over again. So let your device go through the breaking in period. Because at the end of the breaking period, these are just going to become your eyes, barely feel it on your face in the same way these just become your hands. And with those earbuds, it just becomes your ears, right? And it makes you more immersed. It pulls you in. And if after a few weeks of use, you find it still uncomfortable, that's the time to try those kind of accessories. Like the second product here from VR Cover, right? That they make these inserts that, they give you two of them. You can wash one while the other one's in use. It keeps it more hygienic. That's really important these days. And it's real comfortable, too. It makes you feel like you got a face in a pillow. It's really nice. Also, you'll notice these prescription inserts. It's a great way to protect your device if you're you're wearing glasses, right? And if you don't want to scratch your glasses and scratch your VR lenses, that can get really expensive. So they make these prescription inserts. If you wear glasses, that's a great option to use. Also, you're going to find that the box the Quest comes in is fantastic. It really is. But if you're going to be moving around or traveling around a lot, you're going to want to use this travel case here down toward the bottom. That's a really great thing. Listen, if you want to try any of these products, we've made them easy to find. If you go to altvr.com, up in the upper left there, you're going to see a link for channels, right? And when you click on that, you're going to see all these wonderful Altspace channels appear. And down toward the bottom, you're going to see Ravenhall events. The admins tell me it doesn't mean anything to be down there. But if you look down toward the bottom of the page, you'll see us there. And like it says in the sound booth up there. And when you press Ravenhall events, you get taken to our event page. And there on the left side, you'll see all of these products listed there if you want to try any of them out. You'll also see a join Discord button if you want to say hello. You want to ask us questions, maybe you want to help us put on events like this. This is where we organize all of that on our Discord. You're also going to see in the upper right, the most important button on the internet. It's true. That's where they keep it. It's the subscribe button. And when you press on the subscribe button, you're going to find, right, that, it lets Altspace know that you enjoy our content, right? Also, we don't get paid to do this. It feels good when, then we see that number go up. It feels even better when our YouTube subscribers go up. And if you are watching that on YouTube and you want to these products out, you'll find links in the description below. All right, cool. Now, listen, we are going to be taking your questions and comments now. So what we got here is, let's see here. You're going to notice a raise hand button appear as if by magic in your lower right. Is that true? That's how magic works in VR. All right. So you go ahead and press that if you have a question or a comment or anything like that. Right. And while we wait for that to fill up, if you guys are on Twitter and you want to follow us, you can find us at _ Uncanny Valley. I know that looks like 1 underscore, but it is actually 2. All right. Let's see who we got here on the list. We've got Dr. Kobe. Dr. Kobe, what's going on, Doctor? Where are you?
Hey, boss. Yeah, right here.
Hey, what's up?
Right here.
How's it going, Doc?
Hey, man. Hey, good. Just a question for all you Quest users. I'm having a lot of problem when I jump from one location to another. It crashes. The Alt VR crashes completely and goes.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have a lot of apps installed on your device? Like more than just Altspace? You got a lot of apps?
Fair amount, but nothing completely taxing the memory.
Okay,
I have 120.
Altspace does use a lot of memory, and when your memory fills up, you're going to get issues like that. One thing that you can do is maybe either turn down your display options, or you can reinstall the app. That can help too sometimes. You know, how long has it been going on? Since the last update, or just
constantly? But you mentioned display options, and I do think well, hold on a second. I do think I have them set to maximum. Is that the problem?
Now, normally, Altspace doesn't recommend doing that, but I have my display settings at maximum, and it's really been a great experience. I actually tell people that it's really the best way to experience. So that's probably not what's going on, right?
Okay.
But it is likely connected to a memory issue. I would try reinstalling the app just to make sure. And
I've done that several times.
When you first start your device, right?
Yeah.
When you first turn it on, you just start Altspace just like that. You just come right into Altspace like that.
You sometimes, yes.
All right, what you want to do is remember that deep concentration pose I told you about? Try to make this a habit. When you first turn on your device, do that deep concentration pose and hold down the buttons like that until the device completely restarts. And don't let go until you see the Oculus logo flashing. Like it'll pulse. And when it pulses, just take your fingers away like that. And this is going to clear out all those temporary files. So if there's a temporary file in there that's kind of corrupt, messing up Altspace, that might help clear it up. Give that a try.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So there's 2 buttons on the side of this. I know the one.
There's one button on the side. Like if you take your index finger right now, right, and swipe it up and down on the side of your headset, you're going to feel that raised up power button. It's the button you press to turn the device on. Right. Take your other finger on the other side, kind of as a counterbalance, and just squeeze them together, just like that.
Okay.
Look down, be dramatic about it. Let people think you're concentrating. And what'll happen is your device will restart, and that's going to clear out all those temporary files, and that'll really help with that. All right.
Okay.
All right. Listen, everybody. We're about out of time, but what we are going to do, if you guys have any more questions that I didn't call on you, right? We are going to the Ravenhall Flight Academy to teach you guys how to fly. And to get there, what we're going to do is we're going to press this button on this wall here, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to unmute everybody because I like hearing reactions to this thing. I'm going to turn up the stage block because if you guys want to help come up and push this with me. All right. So come on up here and push this red button with me. We're going to go count on 3. Ready, everybody? On 3. 1, 2. Okay. I lost the button. There we go. Let's see. Maybe we're going to back up a little bit. Or just back up a little bit. All right, there we go. Almost. A little bit more. Back up a little bit more. Because sometimes this button sticks. All right, there we go. All right, on 3. 3, 2, 1, push. Let's see.
Ravenhall Talon aircraft en route to your position.
Now, if you look out the window, you'll see a Ravenhall Talon hovercraft flying down the street. It's going to go up over those trees out in the back. So come on and join me. We'll take it out to the Ravenhall Flight Academy. Let's go, everybody. And listen, if you've learned anything here today, please share it with those you come in contact with, right? So, like, let's say, for example, that somebody's down on the ground. You go, what's wrong? And they're like, I'm on a quest and I'm stuck on the ground. You tell them to press down that left thumbstick like a button because it is, right? And, they'll feel better because you help them. You'll feel better because you help somebody. That's how we help keep this thing going.
Talon aircraft is now boarding outside for transport to the Ravenhall Flight Academy. Please exit the building and step into the blue light. Thank you.
All right, everybody. You've been a great audience. I'll see you next time.